Hello there, welcome to another episode of Ask Tolusha. Now, for this particular episode, I will be discussing with you something that I have called What Does Sex and Love Do to the Brain? We're going to be exploring how people feel when they fall in love, how does the brain function, what are the effects that it holds on your emotional and your psychological well-being as a person. We're going to discuss what effects does sex have on how the brain functions and how you begin to see things and the perspective that you begin to see things from. It's going to be an episode that will blow your mind, and so don't go anywhere. Share this video with your friends and family members, with your lover, your partners, as I hope that this would help you understand why you act the way you act in your relationship, or why you're actually scared of starting a relationship, and of course, most importantly, the beauty or the effect of sex and falling in love, how it helps your emotional health and of course your mental health. Don't go anywhere, I'll be right back. So welcome back. Now, during romantic or passionate love, you're gonna feel a sense of addiction, or you're gonna feel like you're addicted to your partner. Trust me, I'm sure that for those of you who have fallen in love, or who are married to your partners and you're still in love, would agree with me that you usually feel this way. Now, people who are madly in love fall madly in love with somebody who is married, who lives on the other side of the planet, difference in religion, difference in idea and perspectives, and they will tell you that, look, no matter what it is, somehow, we're going to work this out. This will definitely work. And now, the reason why they're able to do this is because of the intense energy that comes from romantic love. Now, over time and as a whole, there's something that we call the neurotransmitter, and it settles what the issue is and settles what is left. Now, I'm going to be sharing from my notes that I've created here, and I'm going to be sharing with you certain clips from professionals, psychiatrists, neurologists, who have gone ahead to share their perspective and their body of research as far as this topic or this phenomenon is concerned. So stay with me as we go through this, and I promise you're going to enjoy it. Now, we define romantic love as an intense desire for one another. I mean, you cannot say that you have a romantic attraction or love towards someone if it's not intense. Usually it is intense. You want to be with that person, you want to spend time with that person, and there's an expectation, that it's going to persist into the future. Nobody really wants something to be in the short term, if indeed what exists, right, is a form of romantic love and not just friends with benefit. And of course, that's what distinguishes what you call romantic love from lust, all right, because lust is generally fleeting. Lust is also for companionship love, not necessarily for something that you're hoping would move into the future, not necessarily for something that you're hoping you would consummate. There is no intensity of desire. All you want to do is possess the other in some way or the other. Now, there have been studies that have been done with respect to this particular phenomenon. Now, let me share something from Gail Salt for you. She says, studies have looked at activity in the brain when recalling passionate or romantic love versus maternal love, and finds that different centers definitely are more active. And they would say, put people into the functional MRI, and they said, think about your partner or think about your lover. Then certain areas lit up. And they said, think about your partner, and then certain areas lit up. Or they said, think about your mom, and different areas lit up. So what she's trying to say here is that when people were put into the MRI is a form of scan. You see the definition below. They asked them, okay, so you know what, right now I want you to think about your partner, and a certain part of the head lights up, of the brain lights up rather. And then they change and okay, now think about your mom or someone that is important to you, and different parts of their brains lit up, right? Now, which is important because different areas are responsible for the release of different neurotransmitters, which then come to affect your future feeling state and future behaviors. What this study literally was trying to do is to find out how does the brain react to a sense of romantic love versus how it reacts to maternal love. Of course, everybody has a form of love to his or her mother. The truth of the matter is, studies have shown that the love that exists between the mother to child is different from the love that exists between two romantic partners. And that is clear. And from this particular experiment or this research that was done, it became obvious that there is a part of the brain that lights up when there's something that has to do with a romantic partner, but then almost and many parts of your brain rather lit up when it has to do with you thinking about your mom. Now, during romantic or passionate love, what happens from a neurotransmitter standpoint is the fact that those chemicals are released. Some chemicals are released for a particular interest, and one of those chemicals is dopamine. Now, these chemicals are released for a particular experience. Dopamine goes up. Like I said, dopamine is a major transmitter of reward. Dopamine makes you feel that you have achieved something, that you have arrived, that you have done great stuff, and you feel like you're on top of the world. Take, for example, when you write a test or when you go for a job interview and you succeed, there is this huge rush of dopamine that you feel like, yes, I did it, and you're excited and you want to jump around and stuff. So it is a neurotransmitter that is released when you have a new or a novel experience, all right? But particularly experiences that are reinforcing. So the beauty about dopamine is that it doesn't just come as a rewarding neurotransmitter. It also comes when you try something new or novel, or something that is reinforcing, something that you have done, or that makes you feel like, yes, I have this thing. Even maybe you had felt like you didn't have it before, and then you're able to crush that particular thought pattern or thought process, and then you're like, yes, I have done it finally. So let's see what we have here again. Now, dopamine also exists when you gamble, right? So it's not just about romantic relationships. Also, when you gamble, dopamine just also gives that feeling, all right, that yes, you have done something that is worth it. But here is the thing. Dopamine as a neurotransmitter is very, very funny in the sense that it shows up to addictive behaviors. It shows up to addictive tendencies, all right? It doesn't just show up to something novel or something new or something that you haven't done before. But the moment it senses that this thing is addictive, boom, it begins to go up and down. And so here is the thing. Is a neurotransmitter, if anything is addictive, or you're doing anything that is addictive, is neurotransmitter, if you took cocaine, that is most responsible for, wow, that was great. Like I said, it gives that sense of, whoo, that's great. When you try something new, when you're just doing something, it's neurotransmitter that makes you feel, yes, I can feel it, I'm enjoying it. So it means that you're going to feel addicted to your partner because of the secretion of dopamine within your system. And in fact, it is this same dopamine that goes up and down in OCD. Now, OCD is obsessive compulsive disorder. So you can see that dopamine itself has a whole lot of stuff that it does in our body, has a whole lot of effect that it does to our body. Now, let me also let you know that the fact that you experience dopamine does not mean that you would want to develop or you're going to develop OCD, right? But what it does mean is that you're probably going to be obsessed over your partner, all right? And another neurotransmitter comes in now. So to reduce that level of obsession that you would have towards your partner, remember what I said, that dopamine comes into play when you've tried something new, something novel, and it makes you begin to feel like, yes, you have achieved this, you have done this, and it shows up in addictive behavior. Why? Because it's a reinforcing neurotransmitter, so to speak. But then, in a way to curb that obsession that you may feel towards your partner, serotonin comes in. Now, serotonin in itself is a neurotransmitter that is very active in OCD, right? And for depression as well. But you don't become depressed, But what you do is a feature of depression called rumination. So you begin to ruminate over the experience that you have had with that person. You begin to ruminate over the activities that you have done with that person. You begin to ruminate or think about this particular person. But you are not obsessed and you are not depressed. But it is this same effect, it is the same neurotransmitter, rather, serotonin, that is causing that. So look at it this way. On one hand, you have dopamine. On another hand, you have serotonin. Dopamine says, hey, I know that you're enjoying this feeling. I am happy that you're enjoying this feeling. I want you to keep enjoying this feeling, and so you need to be addicted. You need to keep going back to do this thing. You can't just do it once and stop. I need you that every day of your life, every hour, every minute of your life, you are thinking about this person. And serotonin say, hey, hold it there. That is not what this person is supposed to do. This person is not supposed to be obsessed with that act or with that partner or with whatever it is. So I'm going to come in, and what I'm going to do is, instead of make you obsessed, I'm going to create a thinking part in your brain that you think of the things that you have done or that are doing with this person, think about this person, and ruminate over them. So I'm going to create that balance. I don't want you obsessed, I don't want you compulsive, I don't want you depressed, but you have to be thinking about this person. Isn't that interesting? Now, so you think about your partner over and over again, all right, in this longing, all right, and I mean, this obsessive manner. You're thinking about your partner in this obsessive manner, but you're not obsessed. And if your partner is separated from you, you have this longing to be reconnected to your partner. So by separation, I mean maybe your partner is away, you can't, access each other physically. There is that longing that you look forward to. So this is what is responsible when you are saying to that person, I wish you were here right now. Right? I wish you were here with me right now. I mean, this could have been us, but you're far away. Because serotonin is creating a longing. Serotonin is creating a thinking within you, and you're constantly thinking about that person. You long to be with that person. You want to see that person. All right? And so serotonin says, okay, keep thinking about this person. I want to be there. Now, but then there are also changes to the other neurotransmitters as well, because in case you don't know, dopamine and serotonin are not the only neurotransmitters that exist, but these two play active roles when it comes to your emotions towards something or towards people. All right. So if you're physically with your partner, there is a neurotransmitter called oxytocin. Now, this one is known as the cuddle transmitter. Hey! This is a neurotransmitter rather, that indeed makes you desire to cuddle. Come to think of it, what are neurotransmitters? Take it from the word neuro and transmitter. The word neuro comes from the brain. The word transmitter is like a journey, right? Now, what transmitters does is they carry things along, right? They move things along, just like you're transmitting something. So when you hear the word transmitter, think of it like you're transmitting things, like you're moving stuff, like you're transporting exactly, from the brain or to the brain. So you have these neurotransmitters who move things, all right, here and there. So the cuddle neurotransmitter is what we call, is also known as oxytocin. Now, the real name is oxytocin, but it's also known as the cuddle transmitter. Now, it's interesting the way science is, because in science, something can be performing more than one function, right? So oxytocin is a neurotransmitter, but it has also been called the cuddle neurotransmitter. Why? Because it performs a function that makes you feel warm, that makes you snuggly, that makes you want to hold on to that person and be intensely bonded to that person. All right, and it is particularly responsible or released following orgasm. So that is why when two people have sex, especially for women, they want you to cuddle them and not just leave them. It's because at that point, oxytocin has been secreted and has been transported, and they just feel snuggish. They just want to hold on and feel that warmth of their partner. It doesn't mean that guys don't feel it too. I mean, guys are humans as well. But most times, all right, you hear it from the lady, cuddle me, hold me, and stuff like that. All right. I've heard series of people say that why is it that men just jump off after sex, or they sleep off after sex, right? There have been different explanations to say, okay, so the guy has done the work, he's tired, he's thrusting and everything. But hey, the truth of the matter is there is a neurotransmitter at work. Why one person wants you to cuddle, why one person wants you to, why one person is feeling snuggish, so to speak. All right. So if you're having sex with your partner and things go well, you're going to feel attached to them, of course. I mean, right? And you're going to feel exceedingly intimate with them. Now, this is partially because of the neurotransmitter. Now, there are other neurotransmitters that also change. So I've mentioned dopamine, I've mentioned serotonin. And I said that dopamine is the one that is responsible for you feeling almost obsessed with your partner. But then serotonin comes in to say, hey, hold it there. You can't feel obsessed. What I want you to be doing is to be thinking about this person and be ruminating. Now, note that one critical sign of depressive mood is that you are thinking about stuff. You're thinking about things, and you sometimes are thinking, why is this thing like this? Why me? Right? Now, serotonin is coming to say, yes, I want you to be thinking, but I don't want you to think like life is not worth it. I don't want you to think that things are not going on well with you. I want you to be thinking about this person. Isn't that funny? I want you to be thinking about this act I have had with this person. Perhaps you just had sex with someone, the person is off. So you say, hey, don't forget that experience. Hold on to that experience, and begins to create a feeling within you, the feeling of missing, the craving, and a whole lot of other things. And then comes oxytocin to say, yes, you have done this act now, right? You have had a very impressive sexual experience with this person. The thrusting was crazy. You had great orgasm and stuff like that. Okay, now don't let this person go. Hold on to this person. That's oxytocin at work, aka the neurotransmitter. But then one neurotransmitter is there saying, hey, I cannot be left out of this whole equation. You three are not the only ones that are important in this whole equation. I need to join in. And that hormone is vasopressin. That neurotransmitter is vasopressin, which has to do with the stress level. Now, there is a whole release of neurotransmitters that make you feel very obsessed. Don't forget, dopamine, addicted, thinking constantly about them, that's the serotonin, and very intimately cuddly and attached, that's the oxytocin. And these are stressful conditions because you're thinking about someone that is not with you, you are almost addicted to someone that is not there, you're almost obsessed with someone that you cannot see, there is a need for balance, and here comes vasopressin saying, hey, I know that this can be a stressful moment for you. I'm here to help you out. Don't worry, don't stress it, I'll be your partner. All right, so it is a stressful condition to some degree to be really into your partner, and so vasopressin comes in to stem that. Now, one of the problems with early stage intense feeling of love is that it's part of the oldest part of the brain to become activated, right? So brain regions like brain regions linked with drive, with craving, with obsession, with motivation, and in fact, some cognitive regions upward to the prefrontal cortex have evolved much more recently. They begin to shut down when the issue of romantic love comes in. Now, what does this mean? When the issue of romantic love comes, it becomes difficult for you to think straight. That's what he's saying. Let me read my notes to you again. One of the problems with early stage intense feeling of romantic love is that it's part of the oldest part of the brain that become activated. Brain regions linked with drive, with craving, with obsession, with motivation, that your drive to do something, to achieve something, your craving for something, obsession, your motivation, and in fact some cognitive regions up in the brain of the prefrontal cortex that have evolved much more recently begin to shut down. Now, brain regions that are linked with decision making, planning ahead, also shut down. Now, as people who are madly in love can fall madly in love with someone who is married, who lives on the other side of the planet, who comes from different religion, they begin to tell you like this thing is possible because the thinking part of their brain has been shut down. All that is happening now is an addiction to that person, an obsession with that person, a craving to be with that person, a desire to be with that person. They have washed their hands of anything that has to do with thinking and reality. Right? Good. Now, it's important here to note that oftentimes psychologists and professionals have come up with certain things that they say you should ask your partner or do with your partner to check if you're really compatible. Now, and as somehow they'll say to themselves, we'll work it out, we can work this out. And because of all that energy of intense romantic love, and also the shutting down of various parts of the brain system linked to decision making. So one of the things that I like to say to people is spend a good deal of time with them. Usually when I have conversations with people who come in and we talk about what they experience with their partners, how he's experiencing their mental health, how they feel like this person doesn't care enough and stuff like that. I say to them, spend time with this person. What that time means is up to you. But if you know that you want to marry this person, spend time with that person, a good deal of time, all right? Because some early stage of intense feelings of romantic love can begin to decline when you don't spend time with that person, and you begin to really see that this is what you've got, all right? But as you spend time with that person, you're able to see beyond the intense love and you're able to see the real person. You're able to put things in perspective. As a matter of fact, I mean, I'm usually a very optimistic person about the future of relationships, except I begin to see signs that it's not worth it. And let me put out this disclaimer, and I say this all the time. I am not one who tells people to cut off relationship, except it becomes necessary and I see that it's putting a dent to your mental stability. Whatever it is that you have seen with that person, because when you tell someone that this relationship will not work out, who are you to even say to not work out? and then he walks out and he live happily ever after, you become like a prophet of doom. So I'm very clear, when people come to me and I say to them, look, you know what? You know what you saw, right? You know what you believed in when you decided to fall in love. I mean, the person decides to fall in love. Anyways, you get that. I mean, sometimes you decide, sometimes you're like, nah, I'm not doing this, right? But the point is, you knew perhaps what you're getting into. But let's say you didn't know, you have to be able to tell yourself the truth. And so what decisions you're making are your decisions, right? My job is just hold your hand. I can't tell you what is wrong and what is not wrong. All right, so, and the great deal of many people are having these one night stands and friends with benefits and living together before they marry. And of course, there's a recent study, right, that was done. So let me read that study to you. A recent study was done, which they asked a lot of single people who were living together with somebody. Why have they not yet married? I mean, so there's a lot of cohabiting that happens these days, especially in this new age, all right, where people cohabit, all right, with someone they are not married to. Okay, so they are cohabiting. They will tell you that they want to get to know the person, they want to check the sexual tendencies of the person and stuff like that. All right, now 67 of them were terrified of divorce, terrified of not only the legal and financial and the economy, but the personal and social fallout of divorce. So people are spending time with all their partners that are not married to because they want to check them out, because they are terrified of the effect of divorce, not just the financial implications, not just the economic implications, but even the personal and social fallout because of how the society treats divorcees. And so they don't want to make mistakes. They are scared of making mistakes. And so I began to realize that maybe all this hooking up and friends with benefit and living together is not recklessness. Again, don't judge me. Like I said, I'm beginning to realize that. But maybe singles are trying to learn every single thing that they can learn about their partners. Every single thing they can learn about their potential partners before they tie the knot. Perhaps the reason why that person is spending so much time with this person is because they want to learn every single thing. Now, the truth is you cannot actually learn every single thing about your partner, right? Because, I mean, studies have shown that no matter how long you're married for, you would constantly see new things or discover new things about that person until, I mean, you're no more. So when it comes to what role does science play in terms of helping us to check our compatibility with our partners, it's a very, it's a pointer to the fact that a lot of things come to play. Similar values, whether very similar or near similar values, play a role in terms of this. And in the long haul, it seems that having a lot of similarities in common often leads to a longer term ability to maintain that relationship. Now, why is that? Now, this ability or compatibility is not even talking about sexual compatibility. It's not talking about how wonderful, how passionate, that passionate feeling, but talking about maintaining any relationship, that it's easier when you have fewer bridges to cross. Now, so over time, the whole neurotransmitter thing settles out, and what is left to be able to maintain a relationship going forward. I mean, so we've talked about neurotransmitters in the first part of this video, and how those 4 neurotransmitters play a role in terms of helping us maintain that relationship and even thinking that we are okay with this person. But then with time, all right, these neurotransmitter things settle out, okay, and then you're asking yourself, what then is left for this relationship to continue? So that's the thing that is all this tingling butterfly in my tummy that you're feeling will die off at some point, right? That's what they really mean. So the real thing is that the neurotransmitters settle out and they throw you back to the trenches. Don't mind me, right? But the point is, they put you back to where you really belong, and then you're asking yourself, so what's left? What will keep me going, right? And so it's like saying, if you're arguing over everything because basically you fundamentally don't agree on most things, that is going to be a challenge for you, okay? And I mean, it's not a challenge that cannot be managed. There are some challenges that may not be manageable. Some are manageable, and you'd have to check what challenges are manageable, what challenges are not manageable, right? So, but the question is, what do you do, all right, with that down the road? What do you do with these challenges down the road? What do you do with the things that are happening to you both down the road, okay? And here is the thing. To some degree, studies support that the less compromise you have to make, because we talk about compromise. The less compromise you have to make, the easier right? Because choosing someone with some similarities will make less compromise down the road, make you to make less compromise down the road, in the sense that if you're choosing someone similar, you're choosing someone with similar values, then you're going to have less compromises to make down the road. Now, we all want to sustain a long-term relationship or a long-term partnership, I guess. So the question is, how good are you and your partner individually at communication, at compromise, at being able to make choices that really aren't your first choice for the service of some greater good? Now, we'll talk about compromise, right? And it's important to look at, so we'll talk about compromise, and it's important to look at how good are you and your partner individually at communication. Communication is very, very key. Compromise, how much compromise do you have to make to get it going? Being able to make choices that aren't really your first choice, but because of the service of the greater good. And like I said, we all want long-term relationships. And I mean, psychology will give you a long list of smart ways to sustain it and all that. But the truth is, what the brain can add, what can the brain add? Now, in studying the brain, the first thing you want to do is sustain the three basic brain systems for mating and reproducing and sex drive. So the brain system, there are three parts of the brain systems that help you do this. That's aside from the neurotransmitters that we have discussed. So you have the sex drive, having sex with your partner. Now, this part of the brain, the system we're talking about has to do with mating and reproducing. So you have the sex drive, having sex with your partner, regular sex with your partner. If you don't have time, schedule time for the sex, all right? Because sex with your partner, you're driving up the testosterone system, and so you're going to have more sex. You need to have more sex, and also you need to have enough cuddles. Now, don't forget, at the beginning of this video, we talked about the dopamine, the serotonin, the oxytocin, and the vasopressin. And we did say that what the oxytocin does is it allows you to ruminate over everything you have done with your partner, with that person, that you're constantly looking forward to that person, and you desire some form of more intimacy from that person. Now, as part of the three systems that has to do with reproducing and mating, one of them is sex drive. And so you're encouraged to have sex as much as you can, create time if there's no time for it, and get more cuddle. Now, having sex with the person and any kind of stimulation of the genitals will drive up the dopamine and sustain the romantic love. And of course, there are some good jokes and relaxations about it that is good for the body and mind. So have sex with the person to sustain that brain system of sex drive. Now, to sustain the romantic feeling, now two different things. There's sex drive, there's romantic feeling. Now, to sustain the romantic feeling, do new things together. Explore. Do things that you naturally haven't done before, because novelty drives up the dopamine system, in the sense that doing new things together drives up the dopamine system and can sustain that romantic love. Not just in the bedroom. Go to a different restaurant, have Friday night out, do a lot of things together that are new, right? You're going for a ride, you have a bicycle. I know that, I'm not saying you should go and buy a bicycle if you don't have one, but you get the gist. Do new things together. Novelty, new things sustain feelings of intense romantic love. Now, let me create a picture for you. So you both have tried something new and you enjoyed it. There's a tendency that when you return, there'll be that spark of you enjoying that feeling that romance is involved, and you just might find yourselves next on the bed, right? But you get my point. My point is, do new things together. It helps build that sense of romance or that romantic feeling as a whole. And also, you want to sustain the feelings of deep attachment. So to do that, stay in touch. That's the third part. Stay in. So I've talked about sex drive. I've talked about doing new things together, right? And now I'm saying touch. Stay in touch, all right? It's very important to stay in touch. Sleep in the person's arms, cuddle after dinner, walk arm in arm. Just do things that brings your body together. Do things that make you feel like you're with each other, all right? Now, so you want to understand that as you do this, you're reducing the cholesterol of the other person, you're reducing the cortisol of the other person, and these are all stress hormones, and you are boosting their immune system. But guess what? you are also boosting your own immune system. So that's to tell you that when you do these three things, you are helping the other person and you're also helping yourself. Now, I can understand if you have not been practicing all of these, that's fine. But now you know, so what are you going to do with the information that you have? So what the brain says about a long-term partnership, actually, a happy long-term partnership is overlook what you don't like and focus on what you do like. Express empathy for your partner, control your own emotions, have sex with your partner, do things together, stay in touch, and say several nice things to each other every day. This would help your brain to build and sustain a long-term deep attachment. I'll repeat that again. So what the brain says about a happy long-term partnership is that you overlook what you don't like and focus on what you like. Express empathy for your partner, control your own emotions, have sex with your partner, do new things or novel things together, stay in touch, and say several nice things to each other day in, day out. And you'll experience or you'll be able to sustain a long-term deep attachment. Why? Because you're built to love. Like I always say, we all are social beings. We are not created or we are not fashioned or wired to live in isolation. And when you look at all of these things and you bring them together, you would realize, they often say that a happy wife gives a happy home, right? Now you would realize that you are able to focus on other things when you have your relationship settled. You have a clear sense and the ability to think and be productive when you have your relationship settled. You are able to have a clean bill of health when there is that understanding, that attachment. Now, this doesn't talk about the other things that come in, but of course, this talks about the effect, all right, that sex and romantic relationships can have on you and the role that your brain plays. And so in terms of how your mental health comes into play, for anyone who is happy, who is excited, who is everything going on well, all right, the tendency of you getting stressed or you getting mentally worked up is reduced, and that is what this particular episode is all about. So go out there, build meaningful relationships, get to do the things that make you happy. If you've got a partner or a potential partner, boyfriend, girlfriend, fiancé, whatever you call it, spend time with them. I don't know about your religious beliefs, but if sex is a thing, have lots of it, right? Cuddle each other, do new things together. Even if you don't want to have sex with each other, there are so many other things that you can do, all right, that doesn't have to do with sex, all right, but be sure, right, that you do things together that bonds you together. You can draw out your own items of the things that you both enjoy doing or what you want to explore and go out there, and you would see that you're able to build that bond, you're able to build that attachment together. Thank you for watching this particular episode. I know it's been a long one, but I hope that you do learn one or two things from it, and I'll be happy to read your comment about this. Till I come your way again next time, stay jiggy.